Hi, my name is Guido Lavrata, and today I would like to talk about the natural abilities that toddlers possess in order to master difficult life skills such as crawling, walking, and talking at a very early age, all on their own. How does a toddler become a lifelong learner of these skills? Does the repetition, review, and reinforcement of these skills create an indelible imprint on the brain, making both hemispheres work as one unit? Could this be the secret to creating long-term memory? Are children born with this innate ability to problem solve all on their own? As educators, how can we motivate children to use these natural abilities towards the success in other topics across the curriculum? Perhaps we can identify these skills by watching the interaction of toddlers attempting to walk. First, the toddler has the innate ability to visualize. The toddler assesses, wow, so many around me are not crawling anymore. It seems like they are getting around a lot quicker walking on two legs, and here I am getting rug burns on my knees. I should try walking too. Secondly, the toddler has the innate ability to associate the audio sounds of cheering and applauding to that of success. The toddler remembers, wow, my friend got lots of cheers when they took their first step. I wonder if everyone would clap and cheer for me when I take mine. Thirdly, the child continues to problem solve through the kinesthetic process of taking their first step. A bit wobbly at first, but with much repetition, review, and reinforcement, the child becomes a genius at walking, with skills that seems to continue for the rest of their lives, becoming a lifelong learner. Classroom teachers strive to make the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic processes work harmoniously, ultimately creating lifelong learners in the area of reading, spelling, and writing. For example, a classroom teacher might use this object to show what a bat looks like, visual. The teacher will then use a technique called call and response to help the students phonetically blend the consonants and vowels to pronounce the word bat. That is the audio process, followed by writing each letter of the word bat. That is the kinesthetic process. The teacher will then demonstrate how the word bat can be used in a sentence. Eventually, the student will compose their own original sentence, showing creativity and ownership, becoming a lifelong learner. So then, could the secret for long-term memory actually lie in the repetition, review, and reinforcement of the visual, audio, and kinesthetic processes? Can we encourage these innate abilities to help students become proficient musical performers as well as composers? This is the one premise that inspired me to write the book Americana Strings. Prior to reading, children are encouraged to sing the traditional alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, so on. Now, because the musical alphabet is used in scales, and when you play the scale, you go frontwards and backwards. So we encourage the music students to sing the musical alphabets frontwards and backwards. You'll notice that the musical alphabet only goes up to G. We made it so simple so that anybody could play music. So that's why we only go up to G. So here we could sing it frontwards. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 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 A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now we must sing it backwards as well. G, F, E, D, C, B, A, 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 G, F, E, D, C, B, A. So now, the classroom teacher will encourage their students to write the letters of the alphabet, and they use paper and pencil. Now, as music students, we use the musical staff in writing the musical alphabet. We learn that the musical staff has 5 lines and 4 spaces. We count the lines from the bottom up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in between the lines, there are spaces, 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. We see that the musical staff is divided with these lines called bar lines, and then these bar lines actually create these rectangles in music, which we call measures. Now, the beginning of every song has a time signature. In this example, 4/4 time signature means, the top number 4 means that there's going to be 4 beats in each measure. The bottom number 4 represents a quarter note. So each time you're tapping your foot, you're actually tapping quarter notes. And in this example, you're going to be tapping 4 quarter notes in each measure. So point to each quarter note, tap your foot. Now you'll notice that these quarter notes have stems going in different directions. How could that be? Well, first you must learn to identify whether the quarter note is on a line or inside of a space. If the quarter note is on top of a line, there is a line going through the center of the oval. If the quarter note is inside of a space, it's between the 2 lines, and there's no line going through the center of the oval. Now, I like for my students to verbalize the quarter note house address. It makes learning more permanent if they could verbalize where the notes live on the staff. So, for example, this quarter note actually lives on top of the first line of the staff. This quarter note lives on top of the 3rd line of the staff. Why did this stem go down and this stem go up? Because this 3rd line is called the boundary line. So there is the boundary line rule, which is this. If the quarter note lands on top of the 3rd line or above, the stem will go down. If the quarter note lives in below the 3rd line, then the stems will always be up. For example, let's look at this quarter note. This must be a very low sounding note because it lives in the basement of this house. Now, something very unique about this quarter note, there's extra lines drawn below the staff. Why do we need these extra lines drawn below the staff? That's because it's so low. So these extra lines drawn are called ledger lines. So how do we verbalize the quarter note house address for this note? First, you must look and say if this is a line note or a space note. Does it have a line going through the center of the oval? No. So that makes it a space note. So how would we verbalize the house address for this note? We would say that it lives inside a space below the 2nd ledger line. Now look at this quarter note. It is so high, it lives in the attic of this house. And this quarter note must make a very high sounding, make a high sound. So now this gets a little confusing because students want to say that this lives on top of the 5th line of the staff. Okay, so let's first identify if this is a space note or a line note. Is there a line going through the center of the oval? No. So this makes it a space note, right? So we must verbalize the house address for this note by saying that this quarter note lives inside of a space above the fifth line of the staff. That would be the proper way. So now, as classroom teachers help their students visualize the letters for the word bat, so music students on page 11 in the book Americana Strings will hear the sound, audio, of their open strings. They will hear the sound their open strings make, and they will visualize where each of those open strings live on the staff. Now, as classroom teachers use call and response for helping their students pronounce each letter in the word bat, and reading a sentence that has the word bat in it, so the music teacher will also use call and response on page 12, helping their music students to play simple musical patterns and visualize how the patterns appear on the staff, while keeping the steady beat on each quarter note. They will come to a quarter rest, similar to a student was reading a sentence and they pause at the period. So when you are playing, you are going to pause when you see the quarter rest. So now for page 13, as the classroom teacher uses the kinesthetic process for helping students write each letter for the word bat, so too in Americana Strings, we will use the kinesthetic process of identifying each of these musical symbols that are in the song Leaping Bowls. If you kinesthetically write the symbols, that will help you take ownership and know the letters of the notes and be able to help you play Leaping Bows a lot easier. There's more kinesthetic work here. A lot of these beginning songs has the answer key that will stimulate that kinesthetic process. And then, of course, we will then help the students become musical composers by getting used to drawing the ovals on the staff and then playing them as well as the arpeggio at the bottom. So, as classroom teachers encourage their students to read and write original sentences, so Americana Strings also helps motivate students to read, perform, and create original musical sentences. Your students will feel invigorated and excited to play along with the play-along music found at the website stringsmusicandmore.com. Educators, parents, and students will be very impressed with the outcomes. Enjoy Americana Strings. Thank you for listening, and subscribe to hear more videos. Thank you very much.
Purchase the book Americana Strings and practice with play-along music at stringsmusicandmore.com. Also available on Amazon.com. Don't forget to subscribe to view new teaching videos and enjoy Americana Strings.